Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show, where we talk about all components of business and how to utilize them for exponential growth. My name is Athin Cassiotis. I'm a serial entrepreneur, international speaker, results strategist, business coach, mentor, and consultant. Today, I have an awesome guest. He is an entrepreneur, speaker, and mindset coach for farmers. He was born and raised on a farm in New Zealand, and after leaving school, he serves 6.5 years with the New Zealand Army. After that, he returned to farming for many years, and in 2015, he went in search for answers to move his life forward, which is when he came across NLP. Now he helps farmers master their mind without spending weeks on a therapist's couch. Welcome, Shane Bird, and thank you for being on my show.
Hey, mate, thanks for having me. Certainly a pleasure to be here.
Awesome, mate. It's going to be amazing today. I'm sure it's going to be huge amounts of value for everyone watching and listening today. So you're a very successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, just please introduce yourself by telling us about you and your journey.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me. Hey, you summed up most of it there with that intro, but I was born and raised in a real small environment, little country town. There's 25, 30 kids at my primary school. And what I realized now after doing all that personal growth stuff that you talked about from 2015 was I really became sort of scared of myself, and really because I didn't know how to interact with people, because there wasn't a lot of other kids around my age to interact with and learn how to, have friends and all that stuff. And I went through primary school, high school, fearing rejection, really, as it came down to it. What I worked out later on was I actually had this massive fear of rejection because I didn't have a lot of people to choose from to be friends. So, felt like a real loner through primary school, high school, all that kind of stuff. And then that just flowed on. Like once I left school, even my time in the army, I really feared the rejection and felt like a loner there, and was just going through life, living a comfortable life, not really achieving much, didn't set goals until about 3 years ago was the first time I set a goal, or a real, direct goal where I knew I was going to actually go out and try and achieve it. So I was just coasting through life, living the, sort of a content life really, but not really going out to, grow and stretch myself and become more. I was just getting by day, week by week. And it got to that point where I first attended a personal development seminar, which really showed me what was possible. So it really opened up my awareness. I realize now that, having awareness of what's going on in your life is one of my highest values, because with awareness comes the possibility to grow. Look, if you don't have that awareness, you're not going to grow. So once I had that activated in me and opened up in me, I was like, holy shit, this is like, I can actually achieve so much more out of my life. And it's when a whole lot of stuff changed. And like you say, it led me down a rabbit hole of whole lot of different personal development seminars and trainings and courses and programs, which was one of them was the NLP. And then the NLP for me was what really shifted it. It was like, this is the golden ticket to life, because it not just understood what I was thinking, it understood how I was thinking. And once I realized how I thought, I could then actually have a different conversation with people, which then led to people going, oh, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And then next thing I knew, I was life coaching people. Like I didn't set out to be a life coach. I just sort of fell into it. But I realized that the most fulfilling thing I can do in life is help people change their life the way that I was able to help change mine. So that's how I sort of fell into life coaching. And, the last 2 years I've been full-time life coaching now, and it's really led me down, again, just the constant willingness to learn and grow and evolve myself so that I can help other people in so many other different areas of their life. And here I am now today speaking with you. We met through our coach house that we work with alongside. And it's just, like I say, the most fulfilling thing I've done. And I'm just really motivated to help people change their lives by helping them, learn what I've learned.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Awesome story there. And I love the awareness piece as well. It's so true, isn't it? Because most of us just are not aware. And it's a bit like, I don't know, the Matrix, the movie, right? It's like, the veil gets undid and like, wait a minute, there's something a lot deeper in here that we need to unfold and keep going there. So yeah, really, really powerful, mate. And let's start a little bit towards the start, just quickly initially on your journey, because you're in the army, right? And that's obviously, a feat in itself. And maybe just initially, like, what skills did you learn from being in the New Zealand Army, which you think have helped you in life today?
Yeah, that's actually, I've never been asked that question. But the first thing is obviously structure and discipline. Structure and discipline, especially in the armed forces, is really, really key to make sure everything falls into line, because there's a reason for it, right? And the process behind it. So everyone needs to be on track. So they need to have the discipline to stick to the guidelines and the structure of, hey, here's the steps that, will get you to where you want to go. So I would actually say the biggest thing I learned through the army was the structure and discipline and understanding the process and making sure you tick all the boxes to get to where you want to go to have the desired outcome. Now, within that, you've also got to have that awareness of if you're, for example, going down this track and then the track's blocked, how else can I get to my objective? How else can we get to where we need to be so we can build the bridge or, place the demolitions or whatever we were doing in the army there at the time. So it's also, look, this is where we need to be. This is the process that works, but have that adaptability in order to still get to your desired destination. So have that flexibility, behavior flexibility, and that awareness to be able to, do whatever it takes to get the desired outcome.
Yeah, love a great answer, and I'm happy to hear that I've asked you a question that you haven't been asked before. So all about asking great questions, and you get great answers, and discipline. Yeah, so needed. In business today and in life as well, in what we do. So obviously, you've been a farmer for many years, many years, and obviously, people don't necessarily see how farmers work. We just get stuff from the supermarkets. We sort of get the end result. We don't see, what happens before that. And I'm sure there's a lot of challenging times. So do you want to maybe just share on your own journey, what were some of the biggest struggles you had when you were a farmer?
Yeah, look, the classic one for all farmers, and was the same with us, is the weather. Like when I first left the army, mum and dad, I went back to the family farm and they were just coming into the 1 in 100 year drought. And then like 14 months later, we have the 1 in 150 year flood. And then a couple of years later, we have the 1 in 100 year snowfall. So, I mean, all those times are always the most challenging for farmers because it's an external thing that you have no control over. But it really comes down to what I learned through that was the best thing you can do is manage your mind, understand how to approach every situation with a positive mind. Now, I study that now, but during those times before I started the personal growth and personal development, I wasn't aware that. I was just like head down, ass up, got to work through. But unfortunately, that's what leads to burnout because your head is down. And then you don't have that awareness, like I spoke about right at the start, is when your head's down, you're only seeing directly what's in front of you, but you're not taking in what's actually causing this and what are the other possibilities and options that I could help, set myself up so that if this was to happen again, I'm already one step ahead of the game and I know how to resolve this problem or this issue or this challenge prior to it even happening.
Yeah, awesome, mate. So true. And there's been some interesting things with weather and all that type of stuff. So I can just imagine with that and really powerful. And obviously you've worked, especially with a lot of farmers recently, right? In the last couple of years with helping them as clients to help them to shift like you did to yourself. So what are you seeing now? Because now, things have changed in the last couple of years. There's COVID, there's a lot of other challenges that are happening these days. So what are you seeing as some of the biggest mindset challenges now of the clients that you're working with?
Yeah, well, the first thing I am seeing in the farming industry is actually people being open to the idea of adjusting their mindset rather than just doing the physical head down, ass up stuff. It's like, how can I manage my mind so then I can work, more efficiently during any stage. So I guess maybe I wouldn't say farmers have been overly affected by the COVID in the last couple of years because they are self-isolating to a level anyway. But what I have seen is there's just more awareness around mental health as a rule or as a topic, and people more willing, farmers more willing and more open to actually talk about it because in the past they never used to, mainly because 2 or 3 generations ago they didn't have someone to talk to because they were 40, 50 kilometers up a one-way road with no neighbors within 5 or 10 kilometers, so they didn't have someone to talk to, let alone go and speak to someone who's got more of an idea on how to manage that. So it's just what I have noticed is there's a more willingness to be open and talk about, how can I improve my mental well-being or my mental health, so that then I don't have those frustrations and those challenges just constantly going to that anxiety. Talk about anxiety and frustration and fears and doubts and worries. They don't have that going on in their mind long term. They recognize it and they go, right, this is how I can handle it. This is how I can process it. This is what I can do to overcome that. And then the 2 things that everyone pretty much says is they have a lot more confidence to make decisions. So confidence and decision making is really what they're searching for through any kind of program that I run. Is I guess, look, I'm just so much more confident in making a decision and making it and backing myself, having that self-belief that it's going to come through in the way that I hope, or if it doesn't come through, that I can actually adapt and overcome what the next step is or the next challenge.
Yeah, love that, mate. Really powerful. And I know from from a men perspective as well, like sometimes we're like, oh, you'll be right, mate, and you don't sort of speak up. That's sort of the mentality. And I'm sure from a farm perspective even more so. So it's great that men in general, but the farmers as well, people are starting to speak up and go, you know what, I need some help here. How do I get better, and everything like that. So that's really powerful. And I guess that segues well into NLP. Let's go down the NLP route now, because I know you've learned NLP many years ago, and it's a very powerful tool. I've completed my master's like you have yourself, which is really powerful. So do you want to maybe just a very quick thing say like what NLP is, just for people that may not be aware, but maybe what were the biggest learnings and shifts that you got from NLP as well?
Yeah, so for me, the NLP, like this, I mean, because NLP is such a broad topic, I really focus on using one a number of aspects, but the one aspect of timeline therapy, which is where I get people to have total integration on any past life experience that they've got a negative charge on. I teach them how to remove the negative charge and replace it with a positive charge, so that you can look back on any event and use that to drive yourself forward, rather than looking back on a negative way and going, actually, I'm going to hold myself back. Because the only reason anyone's not getting growth in their life is they're not driving forward as fast or as hard as they possibly could. And that's because of the resistance from something in the past that's holding them back. So I use a lot of that kind of stuff to to remove that negative charge and replace it with a positive charge, so that they can charge forward with a positive mindset and get a successful mindset. Now, how do I do that? And I mentioned it earlier, is what people think isn't the problem. How do they think? So all the other aspects of NLP is really understanding how people think, how do they create the thought process that they're currently operating from, and it's different for everyone, and then teaching them how to recreate a different way to think, how to think differently, because how to think is going to produce the results that you want ultimately in life.
Yeah, so true. And just so people are a bit more aware of timeline therapy, because I think it's a powerful tool as well. Do you want to maybe talk about the 5 key negative emotions that people probably know about, and then which are the ones that I guess help us to shift the most around everything else that we've got going on?
Yeah, for sure. Like you could look up a list of emotions on the internet or wherever, and there'd be thousands of different things, right? But generally, they all come under the 5 major negative emotions, which you know yourself, which is anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. Now, when we work with timeline therapy, we remove the negative charge of anger on all the events in the past, and then all the negative charge on sadness, and all 5 of those. So once you've done that and replaced it with a positive learnings from it, then you're going to look back on all those events and go, I used to be angry, but now I know that event served me for a positive reason. And now I can use that event as a lesson in life so that I can move forward, because we're going through life constantly getting the opportunity to take lessons, and you can take a positive or negative lesson. But if you don't take a positive lesson, it's going to hold you back. But if you take the negative lesson to hold you back, if you take a positive lesson, it's going to drive you forward, and you're going to have better awareness around what's really going on in life and what else you need to be aware of, so that the next time something pops up, you can go, oh, in the past I used to feel angry about it, but actually I know that by having the anger triggered, I know that this means A, B, C, and D in a positive way, and then I can apply that and then move forward really fast, rather than holding on to it for too long, which is then going to, it reduces the energy flow in the body, which produces physical symptoms and illnesses as well, not just mental, not just those mental blocks.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Really powerful stuff there for everyone, that when you shift these things, like it really changes everything, in your life currently, as well as looking back at the events. And maybe let's just talk a little bit about, I think, perception is projection in our model of the world, because I think a lot of people probably don't understand that concept, but how they react to certain things is actually something within themselves. So do you want to maybe just share a little bit about that to bring some more awareness to people as well?
Yeah, look, I love perception as projection, and quite simply what it means is if you see a behavior in someone else, for you to perceive that in someone else, you have to be able to project that out of yourself, which means you know how to do that yourself. Now, the reason you would get triggered by someone else's behavior is because it's still unresolved in yourself. So what do you have to do is, when you resolve it within yourself, then when you see it in someone else, it means you know why they're doing it, and then you can help them overcome that. But if you see someone else doing it and you don't know how to help them overcome it, it means you haven't overcome it yourself. And it's just an indication that this person's been brought into your life and behaving that way to give you a clue or a cue to say, hey, look, you need to work on this so that you can help more other people work on this too. So that was probably very short, but that's the best way that I would explain that. That any behavior you see in someone else that is undesired or that you don't like means you still have to resolve that in yourself. And then once you've fully resolved that in yourself, you can help other people, because you look at them and go, oh, this is why they're doing that. You go, I used to behave that way, and this is what my desired outcome was, but it's a negative behavior. Once you understand there's a positive intention behind that negative behavior, you can then resolve that, understand the positive intention behind why you would do it, and then look at someone else and go, oh, that's actually the positive intention of what they're trying to get out of that behavior. And then you can help them get that positive intention in a different way, so it's not a negative behavior.
Yeah, really powerful, really deep stuff to everyone, to know that, you know, if you're trying to complain about other people, it's really something within yourself that you need to resolve. So have that awareness. And, you know, I think in a very simple sense, the way I like to look at it as well, Shane, is to not judge other people, right? Because everyone's, you know, the NLP saying is everyone does the best they can with the resources they've got at that time, right?
Yeah, 100%. You're not really judging them, you're actually judging yourself, that internal part of yourself. So once you remove that judgment on yourself, get in full integration on what it is you're judging, then you'll no longer judge the other person, because you'll know what the desired outcome is.
Yeah, it's really powerful stuff here, everyone. And if you go down this NLP path, which I definitely recommend, and get, you know, a life coach or a mindset coach like Shane, you know, the shifts that you have is just massive going forward when you have this awareness. And if we go a little bit deeper on masters, right, we learn a full day breakthrough method, right, at the end of it, and you're like the master at this, Shane, definitely. You know, I learned at my recent masters from you on how to do this really well. So do you want to maybe explain the benefits, you know, of doing one of these full day breakthroughs? I don't know, there's so much in it, right? But just maybe in a, you know, I guess the key benefits of what will happen, you know, after one of these massive days.
Yeah, look, it's quite simply, it's just a full mindset reset. And what do I mean by that? Like, if you look at a computer, if you have an old computer, and the longer you have it, you know, you download more programs, you get viruses, you got all this content that's in there, and it gets slower and it doesn't work quite as well as it should, right? Now, there's two things you can do with it. You can delete all the programs one at a time. You can take out the viruses one at a time and all that kind of stuff. Or you could just whip the hard drive out and put a whole new hard drive in it, right? Now, when you do that, it's like a brand new computer. And I can say that because I've actually done that with a computer, and I was surprised how fast it just changed the working capabilities of that computer. And it just worked so much more efficiently. It was like it was brand new again. It was like it was born again. It was brand new, and it was just operating without anything holding it back. And the full breakthrough intervention does exactly that with your mind. It's like we do a complete personal life history. We understand what all the viruses are and all the programming that's been put into you or that you've downloaded from the past. And we just whip it all out and then replace it with positive learnings, like I said earlier, with a positive hard drive, so that then you don't look back and hold yourself back. You look forward and move forward with a successful mindset. You just start fresh again. And it just takes reinforcing to make sure that you stay on track, because you can easily slip back into the old patterns. You can go and grab those old viruses or grab the old programming from all the other people that you grabbed it from in the past. But once you just start with a fresh one and you take on new habits, patterns, and behaviors, going forward, it'll implement a new success mindset inside of you, where it removes all limitations and opens up your awareness to full possibility of what you can capably achieve in your life.
Yeah, so powerful, everyone. Like, one of these days, you know, it might take, you know, up to 8 hours or whatever it is, but it's like, yeah, I know when I, you know, did it on myself just recently, it was massive. And my client, like, you know, you just sort of, you're glowing after, you're like, I'm just floating now. It's like, yeah, you reboot. What do they say with computers? Most of the time, you just got to turn it off and on again, right? And it works. But this is like complete reboot. So love that metaphor as well, Shane. Really cool as well. So let's switch it up now, because I know you also have a hypnotherapy background, and I don't myself. And I'm intrigued by it. Because this has been used for many years, right? For a long time to realign the subconscious mind. So do you want to maybe explain a little bit about what it can help us to do as well?
Yeah, look, I don't actually, to be honest, I don't use a lot of hypnotherapy. I don't sort of publicly promote it. However, if someone says, hey, can we do some hypnotherapy? Then I'll do that. What's the difference between that and the likes of timeline therapy? So timeline therapy is, they both work with the unconscious mind. Timeline therapy is where you consciously reprogram your own unconscious mind. So you're inputting the new information to program your unconscious mind. Whereas with hypnotherapy, it's more like, hey, I'm just going to put myself in it, or allow myself to go in a state and have someone else program my unconscious mind. Still both effective. I just prefer the timeline therapy because it's more like you're doing the work to train yourself, whereas the hypnotherapy is like, hey, can someone else do that for me? But essentially, yeah, hypnotherapy is just working directly with the unconscious mind to put in, to reprogram that computer system that's in there at the moment.
Yeah, really great analogy. I like that with where you're doing it yourself or you're getting someone else to do it, as a very simple way to explain that. So yeah, and I think what I understand, and I'm sure Shane will agree, is there's so many different tools, right, that we can use in this coaching, this life coaching mindset shifting journey. And as we become an awesome coach, like Shane is which tool is right for that moment,
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you go back to a farming metaphor, you take the fencing trailer out, you've got a trailer full of tools, but which tool is the best tool for that job? And you might have 5 different shovels on there or spades, but you pick the one that best suits the ground and the size of the post and everything else. And it's exactly the same with coaching. Like you say, there's so many different techniques and processes and tools and strategies and different avenues you can go down. And it is just like, okay, you have a conversation with the client and go, look, what's the problem? What's the challenge? And and I'm just going, okay, what's the best way to resolve that? What's the best tool I can use in order to resolve that current challenge in their life?
Yeah, really, really powerful. Love that. So, obviously people think, I have a few sessions with a life coach or a mindset coach and I'm fine, or I do a full day breakthrough and then my whole life is going to be awesome. But realistically, shifting our mindset is just a continuous process, right? In life, because we get more information all the time and got to keep shifting different things of what we do. So, do you want to maybe talk about the benefits that we're likely to see over time as we continue to shift our mindset more positively?
Oh, absolutely. Like you say, a full breakthrough intervention, it's a reset, but if you don't reinforce it, then there's a good chance you'll slip back into the old patterns because you go back into your same environment. So the constant evolution and growth is all about anything. Like if you're not growing, you're dead. It's not like you're dying, you're actually already dead and you're just decaying. So you've got to keep feeding the mind. It's like anything, keep feeding it, keep putting in new information so that you can raise your awareness. It's all about, like I said earlier, it's all about raising your awareness. The more awareness you have, the more ability you have to, one, handle any challenges, but also grow yourself and stretch yourself, whether it's a business, personal, financial, relationship, family, anything like that. It's all about, you've got to keep learning more, because otherwise you just keep getting what you got. If you keep just doing the same thing, you'll just keep getting the same result. If you want to learn and grow and become more, which is the idea of life really, then you want to keep learning and growing and becoming more yourself on the internal level, because then you can extract more stuff externally as well.
Yeah, love that. Really powerful points. And let's dig a bit deeper on one of them, which you talked about, your environment. And I think this is a really powerful one here, right? So do you want to maybe talk about how powerful our environment is and all those different elements of how we can have a better environment?
Yeah, look, I talk about this a lot on my programs, is, show me your friends and I'll show you your future, which is quite simply, and I think we've all heard, the 5 people you spend the most time with is the 5 people you become the average of. But it's not just who you spend time with, it's how you spend time with them. So, for example, there's some people in your life that you would go and talk about business with, but then there might be family members that aren't successful in business. So you wouldn't go and talk so much about business with them, because they're probably not going to help you grow your business that much. You might just talk more about relationships and stuff with them, for example. So it's just really being aware of who you spend time with, but how you're spending time with them. And I always say this, like I say, if you leave school and you go and hang out with the kids that are on the street dealing drugs, you're going to become a drug dealer. But if you go out with the ones that are, got a job and look at setting up their own little business, you're going to have a job and set up a business and, become more successful in life. And that's, again, an evolution in life. If you want to grow any part of your life, whether it's business or relationships or your financial state, go and hang out with people that are 1 or 2 or 3, 5 steps ahead of you, so that you can download their beliefs, their values, and the information that they have around what got them to where they are. Because if you're hanging out with people that are 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, you're going to naturally become the same as them. You're going to naturally evolve to be where they are. And hopefully they're still evolving too. So then you'll naturally just stay with them, so you can evolve up the ladder constantly throughout life. And it just comes down to that commitment, or that awareness of who you're spending time with. Is this person building me up? Am I able to help them in any way as well? Or is this person dragging me down?
Yeah. So powerful for that realization. And, I think what I'll add of my experience is that some people are like, oh yeah, but I've been friends with this person since I was like really young or something like that. But maybe they're quite a negative person or something, right? So I know sometimes you can try and help them to shift if they're open, but there's a great NLP line that Shane knows: if it's not a problem for them, it's not a problem, right? So, you can't, if someone doesn't want to change, for the better, you can't force someone to do it. So be aware of that. But what I've found for me is, I'll naturally just drift away from people, right? Like we're as long as we're so strong in the direction that we're going down, as long as you're not just trying to hang on to this person, not saying you have to completely not speak to them ever again, but how often are you speaking to them? And even like I'll say my parents, I've helped to shift their mindset to some extent over the years, a bit better, but they're not necessarily, they're still sort of old school in the way that they think. So I cut down the amount of phone time that I have with them to like once a week. I still message them every day where I can. And that's on purpose, because, what I get into my mind is really powerful, right? To do that. And I'd like to hear from you, maybe you, Shane, about, what sort of different things you either do yourself or you've seen others do for those key things around the people that are around. Yeah.
Oh, well, there's a couple of things. One is have a coach. So as you know, we turn up every Sunday morning for our 2-hour sessions with our coach. Plus we do the Thursday calls as well. There's another 1-hour session there. So it's all about the commitment to keep putting yourself in the environment of your coach, because your coach needs to be 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of where you are at least. The other one is I've got another couple of little masterminds that we run. So for example, every Thursday I'll catch up with a couple of mates from New Zealand who are coaches as well, and we talk about different system strategies and processes that we apply currently in our coaching business, or that we can help each other. We learn off each other. And then I've got another little mastermind, and at the moment that's just a short-term one, but it's set up around one's a wealth guy and one's a voice coach, right? So how can I improve my voice for when I'm speaking? And one of the things he said was to slow down. So that's what I'm practicing now. And the wealth guy about where's the best place to invest or manage your money just in business and stuff like that. So it's just like find the people that are 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of you and extract the information out of them and add value to them as well. And that's just the environment you want to be around, where you can just bring together a little community, whether it's 3 people or 70 people, and just learn off each other. Make sure you're growing in a forward direction, and just feed off each other's information, because there's so much information in the world. We can't just download it all. It's just like grab the stuff you can and that you need at the time, apply it, and then seek out some more.
Yeah, definitely. Coaching, mentoring is massive, and there's 2 parts to what Shane just said there, right? Is you can create your own mastermind, your own groups of like a few people or more, just for people that right, depending on your network. So that's one area. Sometimes where you get a lot more like massive results and connect to a lot more people is to join group coachings and masterminds and things like that, right, that are going to help you, whether it's business, whether it's life, right, in different areas, to help yourself, but then also to connect with more people that are like-minded, and then create your groups there. And it's just that constant process, investing in ourselves, and then we can if we're in the coaching world with coaches like Shane and I, then by investing in ourselves we continue to grow, and others invest in us as we grow as well, and everybody grows together. And do you want to maybe touch on that a little bit more, Shane, about how important coaching, mentoring is? Let's talk about in business now, right? Because we have mindset like there, but business perspective, like mindset is a key area of business as well. So how important has coaching, mentoring been for you in business, and what has it helped you to achieve as well?
Quite simply, one sentence is it avoids mistakes. Like you can go out and learn anything you want. You can YouTube it, Google it, or whatever, and you can learn it on your own. The fastest way to get success is find someone who's already got it. Find that one person and extract all the information out of them. So it comes down to how fast you want to succeed, really. So that's why coaching is so important, because a coach is going to give you their information. That's all they're doing, is they're downloading information to you, and then you still have to do the work. You still have to apply it. But it's just how fast you want to extract the information. I could spend 10 hours looking up something on the internet, or I could go and ring my coach or chat to an expert in that area and go, hey, how do I do this? And then boom, I've got it in 10% of the time. I actually did that with that computer I spoke about earlier. I spent hours and hours trying to delete the files and everything. I found a guy like 300 meters down the road who fixes computers, dropped it off, picked it up the next day, and it was like brand new. So how fast do you want to succeed? And that's the whole benefit of having a coach, is it just it accelerates the process to get to where you want to be. And then once you get there, it's like, right, what's the next level? What's the next level?
Yeah, love that. So powerful. And I've succumbed that to myself sometimes. Like, yeah, I'll work it out 5 hours later, days, weeks later, years later sometimes, right? And then like, why is this other person so far ahead of me? Or far out, this took me 3 years. Why didn't I do this, 3 years ago? And where could I have been? Because time is our most precious resource, right, Shane?
Exactly right. Yep. And that's exactly the same. There's the exact same amount of qualities for everyone. It's just how we use it, right?
Exactly. And let's create that ultimate life, whatever that looks like, right, in business and life, as quickly as possible, right? We want to get to that so that we can enjoy it with the people we want around us. So really powerful. And you talked about avoiding mistakes and talk about failure and things like that. So do you want to maybe share, whether it's during or before, what's been maybe one of your biggest failures or something like that, and how you overcame it as well?
Oh, yeah, that's easy. Trying to do it all myself. I guess when I reflect now, that giving up control, like that fear of giving up control. What if I ask someone else to do it and they do it wrong? Or, I'll take someone on, but it's going to take too long to train them. I could spend that 10 hours and get the job done then, but then I have to do it 10 hours every single week instead of maybe investing 15 or 20 hours to train someone to do the certain jobs that take up all that time, and then I free up that time. So really my biggest lesson, and it's still something I'm evolving through right now, is how else can I give up control of the business, part of the business, so that someone else can do it for me. So it gives me more time for what we all want, time with family and friends and, connection, but also it gives me more time to deliver even more value to the clients in the one-on-one or in the group settings that I deliver the content on now. Because if I can give more time into the planning on that and the delivery on that, then it makes me a more impactful coach. So it's all about, for me, giving up the control of the back end stuff and getting other people to systemize that, or getting other people to do that.
Yeah, awesome. So important. And I'm going through the same journey as well, Shane. I think everyone in business, and they always say, start your business or create your business as if you're going to sell it. Because then if we work ourselves out of the business, then everything's, down to those processes, automated and things like that. Now, we may want to never sell the business because we love it, right? And we'll be in it. But if we have that mentality, then it's a powerful one. And it's that little battle of the entrepreneur. And something that's popping up as well, Shane, that I'm not sure how some people get, if you get this, is maybe the shiny object syndrome, right? Where people are like, oh, that looks nice. Why don't I do that? Why don't I do that? And you go in about 10 different directions and you probably get nowhere pretty fast. I don't know, how is that with you? And what are you seeing? And maybe some things about helping with that.
Yeah, I think I was probably a little bit of that, especially when I started the personal development stuff. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. But really, it's really asking, what's your long-term desired outcome? And is this thing going to really support me get there, or is it only going to give me a little short burst of feeling good in the moment? I mean, I would say a lot of the shiny object syndrome is for instant gratification rather than the long-term gratification. So I'd just be asking myself, is this something that's going to serve me long-term? Is it something that's going to help grow my business and myself and my life? Or is it just like a shot of, like a Red Bull versus a long-term health shift? So how are you going to best energize your body, or how are you best going to energize your business or your life? And is it just a little fire starter, or is it a long-term coal burning thing that's going to benefit you? So it's just asking those questions.
Yeah, love that. Really powerful. And habits is a powerful thing as well, right? Because we all have habits, whether we know about them or not. If we just do them without sort of being conscious of them, or we actually want to reprogram what our habits are. So do you want to maybe share, whether it's a couple of your habits or maybe some things that we should be thinking about including in our daily habits that could really help us to really, achieve our goals and move to where we want to be as well?
Yeah, first one is feed the mind. Always feeding the mind every single day. I'm either reading a book or listening to a podcast. So you've got to be feeding the mind, which is just, again, raising your awareness. It's all it is. It's feeding the mind with positive stuff, right? So being very aware. Okay, so yeah, feeding it with books or podcasts, being aware of what you're reading or watching on Facebook or on social media or TV, because that's feeding your mind too. Being aware of the conversations that you have, that's feeding your mind. Is this a positive, empowering conversation, or is this a negative, disempowering conversation that's going to make me think about more negative stuff? So being very aware of what you feed your mind with is the first thing. And one of my habits is half an hour at least every morning of a podcast or a book. So when I'm running, I'm on a podcast, and if I'm at home, then I just read a book for half an hour at least. So that's the very first one. The other one is making sure the fundamentals, the base stuff with the business is happening. So in our thing, it's all about like the marketing, the exposure, getting your content out and all that kind of stuff. Is making sure that that's happening, not just weekly, but daily. What do I have to do today in order to make sure, is it a post today or is it a post that's coming out later in the week? Make sure it's all lined up and all of that kind of stuff. The other two big things is really understanding like what you're putting in, and then what are the base stuff that really needs to happen to make your business grow.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Really powerful. And yeah, mind feeding. So powerful in a lot of different ways. And there's so much awesome knowledge on, podcasts, I've had some awesome guests. Shane's been awesome today. So much gold today, right? And so many other podcasts, so many other audio books and books as well. It's like, get it into you. And I think, from what I think the difference is, like you said, there's a lot of stuff, but what the coaches and mentors like compress the time, and it's also helping with the implementation, because sometimes you can listen to this stuff, but it's how do you actually do it in the business or in your life, whatever that is. And I think that's where, coaches and mentors really help us take it to that next level and keep us accountable, right? At the same time.
Yep, absolutely. Implementation is huge. Like knowing it's one thing, but implementing it is what's going to get you the transformation. So you've got to implement everything. Knowledge, they say knowledge. I mean, everyone's said this, knowledge is power, but it's not. It's just potential power. Application of knowledge is power, is personal power, right? And then when you pass that knowledge on to someone else, it's powerful.
Yeah, sure is. So we've covered a lot today, Shane. It's been amazing with a lot of the value you've done. And do you want to maybe share what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all of the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
Yep. Whenever anything happens, ask yourself, what else could this mean? Like, especially if it's something that's like undesired, is go, right, what else could this mean? Because then you raise your awareness, you lift your head up. You're not just head down, ass up like most farmers. You lift your head up and go, what else could this mean? What else needs to be adjusted? What else needs to be realigned or shifted, so that I can, one, learn from this experience, but also next time a similar challenge comes up, just handle it straight away, straight off the bat, and then just keep moving forward. Keep that forward momentum, keep in flow, so that you can grow yourself at a far, far faster rate than what you're currently at the moment.
Yeah, awesome stuff. So powerful, everyone. That was, raising your awareness. That's where it all starts, right? With your awareness, then you can make better conscious decisions in your business and life. So, Shane, we connected through our networks where I learned about your awesome journey from being born and raised on a farm in New Zealand to leaving school and serving the New Zealand Army, to then coming across NLP and all these other tools where you've now created a mindset coaching business where you help farmers master their mind without spending weeks on a therapist's couch. You're an awesome guy. I'm sure everyone will agree, and you'll continue to help farmers, to shift their mindset for success. Very grateful that we connected, through one of our programs, and I look forward to working with you in the future as well, mate. So how can people find you, get in contact with you?
Two easiest ways is look me up on Facebook. Easiest thing is to look up A Farmer's Mind Shift as a group. That's my group that I run, where I put most of my content. So A Farmer's Mind Shift, or otherwise just Shane Bird on Facebook. You'll find me there somewhere. And the other one is, there's a bit of information on my website, so shanebird.com.
Awesome. Definitely check Shane out. If you're a farmer, definitely, even if not, you just want to learn about mindset and things like that, like Shane's a master at all of this stuff. And I'm sure you felt his awesome energy and his awesome knowledge and wisdom that is shared with us today. So thank you everyone for watching and listening to this show where we talk about everything on business growth. Please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube as Athin Cassiotis, or visit my website, athincassiotis.com. I completely agree with you, or do I? The only way you know is if you tune in next time. So until next time, remember that our business grows when we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So remember to design your growth and results.